I've seen a lot of uniformitarians, or as they like to be called today, actualists. They'll respond by saying, well, because of erosion, this is why we don't find the complete geologic column anywhere on the planet. Basically, you got rocks depositing during one period, and then they're eroding away during a later period. What would be a good response to that?
Two things. Number one, if that were true, then the layers that are there should be in the correct order according to evolutionists.
Right.
That even though the layers are there, there really is no place in the world where you find the complete column in one place. And what they're doing is they're taking material from different places. This is a trade secret of the evolutionists. Even Stephen Jay Gould admitted it in one of his articles, one of his essays, that they take the information from here and there, and then they rearrange the evidence and claim proof. Well, if you're allowed to rearrange the evidence, you can prove anything you want to. The other thing is, if these layers were laid down slow and gradual, and I think this is one of the biggest criticisms of their ideology, their religion, their philosophy, is that if the layers were laid down slowly, gradually, one at a time, then we should find four things of evidence that proves that they was slow and gradual. The first is that between, well, I'll start back for a second. Would you agree with me that if evolutionists were right and the layers were laid down one at a time, one after the other, then there would be a period of time during which each layer was exposed before the next layer was laid down on top? Would you agree with that, Donnie?
Right, yes.
From a logical standpoint. So one layer is laid down, it's exposed, and the next layer is laid down, then exposed, and the next layer is laid down, according to them.
Right.
Then please tell me why. No soil horizons between the layers. They're in direct contact, one upon another. Why are there no V-shaped erosion marks filled in by the layer above and preserved? Why are there no root holes? Why are there no animal holes? And you see, science is an interesting field. I've been in it all my life. Basically, I studied science from birth. People have to ask the two most important questions in science, which are also the two most important questions in Bible study. I would make that statement. And the two most important questions in science are, number one, what is there? What's physically there? What are the layers? What are the fossils? Whatever it may be. But the more important question is what's not there. And this applies to Bible study. I can prove it to you many times over. But often what is not there teaches us more than what is. And because there's four pieces of physical evidence missing that these are slow and gradual processes that all occurred at one time, I would insert as well that research done at sedimentation laboratories, both at Colorado State University, which is a totally secular university, and also in France, have proven that either in moving water or even in still air, layers will still form. So that if you have difference of granulation, so that there could be differences. I mean, if it's all uniform, it's all uniform. But if you have differences of gradation in materials, they will form layers even in a vacuum. And so the layers actually in moving water all form at the same time, and they merely extend in the direction of water flow, and all layers form at the same time, so that the bottom layer is the same age as the one on top. And the evolutionary concept of the bottom ones being old and the ones on the surface being young is simply not true. It is not scientifically valid.
That right there, Dr. Grady, is a fatal blow to deep time evolution, what you just said there, because they want to say that all of these basically layers, all of these eras represent millions and millions of years. But with your point there, shouldn't we have evidence for all of these environments, animals burrowing? I think that's a fantastic, right.
And again, polystrate fossils, though we usually would think of tree trunks, they can be bones, certainly. We found lots of polystrate bones. But the tree trunks often, and Specimen Ridge at Yellowstone being a great example, but you have tree trunks with no roots, roots with no tree trunks. But what's more important, what's more interesting, Often we find the tree trunks upside down. Now, my question to the evolutionists is, please explain to me how these trees grew upside down without roots or tops for millions of years, whether layers formed around them.